a glimmer of hope, Stel, I'll come to you for this one, which has caused a bit of controversy. Obviously, the Harry Kane goal being disallowed. Now, first thoughts, how are you? I know we're probably all feeling fuming, but what's your kind of take, obviously, on that being disallowed?
I think it's very, 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 very intelligent from the defender. And in England, we're not a fan of the dark arts, and we're not a fan of trying to get an advantage if it means kind of tricking the referee into thinking something incorrect. But what I've found is elite, and I mean elite level players, they've got it in their locker nowadays. I don't know about the past. Graham can tell us about that because obviously he's played the game, won trophies and whatnot. But if you look at John Terry, he had it in him. If you look at Collini, European Cup final, he pulled back Saka because he knew he had to take one for the team. And I think Harry Kane got into a position where Thiago Silva knew he was in trouble, and he's just sold a movement of Harry Kane when Kane went like that. Whether Kane was trying to get distance or trying to just push away to get into whatever Kane was doing, Thiago Silva just mastered using that to sell it to the referee. Some you get, some you don't, and he's pulled a fast one on the referee. And because VAR rules mean that you can't use VAR unless it's clear and obvious, it's just if you're a defender, it's just superb defending when you really need to pull something out of the hat when you're in deep trouble. If you're a Spurs fan, Harry Kane in the neutral, you're thinking that's a joke. How's that been disallowed? So it depends which side of the fence you're on. For me, I don't get it. It should have been a goal. But at the same time, would our players have done it? Because I've seen Ben Davies in games where he could have gone to ground. He's staying on his feet because he's been honest. He's been, a genuine footballer. But maybe to be that elite level, you need a bit of Lamella in you. So
do you remember last year, Stel? Do you remember last year?
Yeah.
I think it was last year we played Liverpool away. I think it was Mora or one of them. They went through and he pushed him in the back. And he didn't go.
It was Mora, yeah.
He didn't go down.
Yeah.
But he did push him. It was the same referee.
There you go. He's got it in for us.
Well, I've always said I think he's the worst referee in the Premier League. I think he's too lightweight. I don't think he gets some decisions right. I think we've had him 2 or 3 times this year at home. He's been very, very poor. For me, he is the worst referee in the Premier League at the moment.
I think the problem is that I think the state of officiating in the Premier League throughout the whole season, and even the last couple of years, to be honest with you, has been terrible. And and if you think about it, if it was the roles reversed, if that was Kane going to ground, it'd be booked for diving. And it's just, there's no consistency with it at all. I know defenders, they're always going to get more with it in that sort of scenario, but there's absolutely zero consistency throughout the game. When a similar thing happened to Dele Alli against Liverpool at home. I don't think that should have been a pen, but it was a similar scenario, and it's just the completely different results.
We talked about VAR. There was a goal scored at the weekend, and I can't remember what game it was. And his hand was offside, and they gave the goal.
Was that Cavani and Rashford to Man United?
They disallowed Harry Kane's goal because his hand was offside against Southampton.
Mm-hmm.
That is So that's why VAR for me at the moment is a waste of time because they don't keep consistency, and it's just a waste of time. It's a waste of time, and you should just let the referee because what they're doing is now they're waiting for the VAR to get them out of the crap. Sorry about my language.
And I think the thing is as well, I think it needs to be officiated by a separate board, if that makes sense, because they're all trying to look after each other's backs, if that makes sense. If one ref makes a silly decision, it's all right. My mate will back me out in VAR. It's just a massive. It just causes more controversy than what's needed, I think. Why
don't they, Hollie? Why don't they put players who have played the game and know all the tricks in the VAR with them?
It's funny you say that as well, because we've spoken about obviously Thiago being very clever, but isn't VAR supposed to look at things when they've outplayed the ref? Like, isn't that what VAR should be used for necessarily?
Yeah, but it's not.
I don't know.
He didn't think. What was it like? Stel said just a minute ago. It wasn't. What was the word you used? I couldn't remember what the word you used.
Obvious and clear error.
Clear. It wasn't obvious and clear, because if it had been obvious and clear, then the VAR would have got involved. But he got away with it, and good luck to him. You know, that's very good play by the centre half. But I think the referees need to come to task now.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, to have the best league in the world, we've probably got the worst referees. It's ridiculous. I mean,
definitely.
I just want to click on to what Mike said. Obviously, we're speaking about clear and obvious. I think those kind of rules, George, I'll come to you because obviously it's your dad. I'll come to you for this one. Do you think that needs to be basically taken away? Because we're talking about clear and obvious again, but what actually is clear and obvious? Because the lines seem to be blurred every week.
Clear and obvious. It doesn't. To me, it doesn't mean anything. I don't understand. What is? How can you define like clear and obvious? Because every scenario is just so different. I think having the VAR technology is not a problem, because if you see every other major sport in the world, it's got some sort of video reviewing assistant. But for whatever reason, I think it's more to do with the officials using it incorrectly and not necessarily. It's just strange how like so many fans around the world, and even pundits, ex-players, whatever, so many people can see when a certain situation, whether it be a penalty, a goal, whatever maybe, is one way, yet somehow the referees are giving it completely the opposite, or not using the technology right. So I don't know. I don't know whether you need to train the referees better. I don't know if the rules need to change around VAR, but even if there's maybe like a challenge system like you've got in tennis and multiple other sports, where you're not over abusing VAR, where you're going to have 7 minutes added on because of all these different changes. Just, all right, you've got 3 chances to use it. If you get the decision right, you get that chance back, sort of thing. And then I think we'll probably see less teams cheating because of that. So I don't know.
George,
it's just a suggestion.
If we
anyway.
do that, we'll be here till midnight.
True.
Playing the game, giving them 3 chances, and then you don't lose your chance of being here till midnight.
I mean,
Do you know?
Oh, sorry. Go on, Stel. Go on.
As I said, the biggest problem with VAR is 85% of the decisions are correct. So it's actually fixed a lot of the errors. If as much as I hate it, second leg against Chelsea, we could have had 2 penalties and a goal, and VAR got it right in every occasion. It served its purpose. It's just when it gets it wrong, that's when we just lose our minds, because we expect it to be 100% bulletproof.
I think
it'll never be 100% bulletproof.
I think the problem is with the ones that are wrong. Like, for some reason, they seem to just look for the really small, minor details rather than taking like the bigger picture of what's happened. Like, for instance, there's been occasions for red cards where they'll just look at like a screenshot, just a freeze frame of that moment, rather than looking at the bigger picture if it was right or not. Same with some close margins of offside, like with the Kane one against Southampton, was it?
Yeah.
It was like, well, if you look at the bigger picture, has he gained an advantage by being that like tiny millimeter that they're saying is offside? No, he hasn't. So why are they making that decision?
Yeah, but that one, George, he was offside because his hand was in front of the other fella. You can only be offside from a goal, what you can score a goal, and you can't score a goal with your hand. So they got it wrong, but they did it again on Saturday. His hand was offside, and Rashford's goal, and they gave it. That's where they're wrong.
I think a lot of problems as well stem from the people that write the laws of the game are just people in suits that sit in UEFA and FIFA. They're not ex-players, like Graham said, that we need in the VAR room. Ex-players should be writing the laws of the game. You know, they know what it means to. Yeah,
I agree. I think ex-players. It don't matter who they are. You know, you have. Just say for me, I went and I done Man United, Man City game. You don't have, you have to have not person to that club, but a player will know when you played the game. You know all the tricks. So you know what's like that one on Sunday. He was very clever with it. You knew.
I think
so. You could say to the referee, "He's pulled you there. He hasn't really pushed him. He's just lent his arm on him and he's dived forward." You can see it.
Graham, even the way he fell was not natural. That wasn't a natural fall.
It was like 3 steps. It was 3 steps afterwards.
He's choreographed that. It's just.
But
I think as well having
an ex-player will say to the referee in his ear, "He's conned you there. You should have a look at it."
Exactly.
Well, I think as well having multiple people voting independently rather than just one person doing VAR as well would help, because then you're getting multiple views of the same thing rather than just
Yeah.
one person could make the same mistake as a referee.
Yeah.
So if it was just one person reviewing it.
It's very interesting, and I think that's the thing I was trying to allude to with VAR. I know, obviously, Stel, you said that obviously it wasn't clear and obvious, and we've spoken about clear and obvious. But like Graham said, maybe having someone that's been there, done it, got the T-shirt can actually be like that match been played. Because that's the thing for me when I saw it, I'm like, there's no way he's fallen like that. There's no way on planet Earth. And I think that's the thing that riled me up. And then since then, we obviously go on, Stel, quickly. I know you want to.
I was going to say my issue are the rules. I don't like the rules. It's like when the goalkeeper dropped the ball against Southampton, and then the goal we scored was disallowed because there's a rule either that the ref blew before the ball went in the back. Whatever the ruling there, clearly that rule is silly. It's just daft, because if the referee saw that again, the referee's going to say, yeah, actually, you've dropped the ball. It's a goal. But he's not allowed to look again. And that's a rule. It's not the referee's fault. That is a rule.
Yeah. Yeah,
you know,
they only ever go to the monitors if they're actually pretty much guarantees turn over the decision, which doesn't make any sense either. Like,
no.
It's supposed to be an assistant. It's supposed to give you another chance to look at it from a better angle, and that's not happening.
No, I agree with that.